Go for it.
Okay. Hello, my name is Cassidy Davis, and today I'm going to be telling you why SeaWorld is a danger to the animal it hosts and should be closed. To begin with, the habitats and tanks that the animals are kept in are very different from the wild, which can affect many aspects of their lives. The lifespan of animals in captivity is very short compared to the lifespan of animals in the wild. SeaWorld also separates animals from their communities and families. SeaWorld is a dangerous environment for the animals because they are taken from the wild, which is where they are created to live and thrive. The ocean is a different community than the tanks of SeaWorld. In the wild, 95% of the time, orcas are submerged deep enough in the ocean where there is shade. At SeaWorld, the deepest tank is about 50 feet, which is not enough space for the orca to be fully submerged. Due to this, most of the orcas have permanent sunburn. Another unnatural thing is that the majority of the adult male whales at SeaWorld have collapsed dorsal fins, which can be a sign of injury or an unhealthy orca. Only about 2% of adult males in the wild have collapsed dorsal fins. This is just another indication of how whales are affected by living in captivity. In the wild, whales and dolphins swim up to 100 miles a day. SeaWorld's tanks are only about 300 feet wide, so this would mean in order to swim up to 100 miles a day, the animals would have to swim over 1,500 lengths of the tank. Also in the wild, whales are able to dive up to 1,000 feet, whereas in SeaWorld, the tanks are only about 50 feet. The animals who are originally from the wild are confined to a much smaller habitat, which can cause them to be anxious and can lead to further complications. Dolphins living in captivity exhibit stress behavior, which includes aggressiveness, self-inflicted injuries, and neurotic behavior. They are given medicine to treat stress-induced ulcers. Living in captivity confines the animals to small spaces, and the environment causes them to be highly stressed, which is an unnecessary health issue that the animals would not have to face if they were living in the wild. The lifespan of animals living in captivity is a lot shorter than the lifespan of animals living in the wild. In the wild, male orcas have an expected lifespan of 60 to 70 years, and female orcas have a lifespan of 80 to 100 years. In captivity, the median lifespan of an orca whale is only 9 years. In the wild, bottlenose dolphins can live up to 50 to 60 years, while in captivity they rarely live more than 20 years. It is not exactly known what causes the animals living in captivity to live such short lives, but it is known that it has something to do with the animals being forced to live in captivity. This is why, in order to solve this problem, the animals should be let free. Being in captivity alters the animal's way of life that they would have in the wild. For example, dolphins are very social animals. They live in pods, which consists of their family and others. They communicate with each other using distinct whistles and body language. In captivity, the dolphins are isolated and are not able to use their forms of communication. Also, in order to acquire certain animals, sometimes SeaWorld has to completely uproot them from their homes. SeaWorld has reportedly taken at least 10 penguin dolphins who were still dependent on their families from Antarctica to California. They were even shipped in little containers that had holes in them. They weren't even like real habitats. Not only do the animals that they take, not only do they take animals for what they are used to, but they also force them to do things that are not natural. For instance, in the wild, whales breed with their choice of mate at around 15 years old. At SeaWorld, the whales breed at around 8 years old, and it usually includes inbreeding, which causes health problems. The animals are forced to perform, which is not something they do in the wild. This can add unnecessary stress. In conclusion, the ocean is a better suited environment for animals to live. They should not be confined to the small tanks that they're forced to live in. The tanks do not accurately represent the animal's natural habitat and therefore can be detrimental to their health. Animals living in captivity live shorter lives compared to animals living in the wild. It is believed that one of the causes of shorter lifespan is that SeaWorld animals are away from their natural way of life and their families. It is unjust and cruel to uproot animals from their homes and confine them to a small space so they can perform for entertainment of people. SeaWorld needs to shut down in order to fully stop the cruelty that is happening to their animals within the organization. Thank you.